Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability. Today I have a guest that came all the way over from Santa Cruz, so thank you so much. And it's Mitch Barlas. Am I pronouncing it right? Okay. Yeah. And you have such an interesting background, and then you've started this amazing company, actually companies. So you've got BagSpeak and Bagito. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and where you come from, who you are.
Sure. So I am from sunny California originally. I grew up in Sonoma County. I went to college here, and I found my current profession kind of like by a fluke. I was going to go to law school and take a few years off and teach beforehand. And so I got a job as I went and got my teaching credential and got a job as a teacher in San Francisco and then in San Mateo, and I just loved it. And I put law school on hold, and the rest is history. I've been a teacher and administrator, assistant principal, school principal, and an assistant director of technology as well.
And when did you said you moved here how long ago?
So
you were in New York?
Yeah. So I spent the first part of my career in New York, in California, in the Northern California. And then about 2000, I decided to move to New York and go to graduate school. I wanted to be a school administrator. And so I moved back to New York and got my principal's certificate. And then New York kind of reached out and grabbed me and held on, and I was in New York 12 years.
You almost sound like you have a little bit of a New York accent. Almost.
Okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
Almost. Yeah. I would have guessed you were a New York guy.
I worked up in the Bronx, so you've got to kind of be forceful with the way you talk up there.
Wow. Yeah, I've only been in New York a couple times, and it was fun. One time was in the summer, very, very humid. It was like August. It was hot and humid, sticky. It's a great place to be. And so when you were there, you came up with this idea. And tell us about your company and how you came up with the idea. It's amazing.
Sure. Let's see. So really, the concept for both the nonprofit and the offshoot, the Bagito, came from I was going grocery shopping. This was back in, I think, 2002. And I was bringing my own bags, reusable bags.
Good for you.
I grew up in Sonoma County during an era when it was very granola-y, so to speak, up there. And my mom always had her bags with her. And so I didn't know any different. But I was conscious of the shoppers around me, and I did not see a single person with a reusable bag. And
this was in New York?
This was in New York City,
where there's a lot of people doing a lot of grocery shopping. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of bags.
That's right.
Yeah.
And at the same time, a major metropolitan, a progressive city that you would think some people would. And so myself and 3 teachers got together, and we started to brainstorm. We said, look, if we don't see people taking their own bags, what else aren't they doing in terms of environmental sustainability and stewardship? And so we came up with a project called BagSpeak that really introduces kids and solidifies student learning around those concepts, stewardship and sustainability.
Let's pull up that first slide. And I love this on your website, Environmental Stewardship and Literacy for K through 12. And that's just awesome. That kind of says what you're doing, right, with both.
Yes.
And so you came up with this there, and the model was to give the money back to the kids.
Yes. So I'll explain to you. Being educators, being on the inside, so to speak, we knew exactly what kind of program we wanted. There are so many wonderful third-party programs, whether it's for the environment, for technology, for art, music. The competition for these programs in schools these days is tremendous because the teacher's time is limited. And there's a lot of things that they need to focus on. So we developed a program that a teacher could literally pick up the day that he or she is teaching it and begin. And so it is what we call integrated. A teacher during a math block could teach a lesson on sustainability. A teacher during a social studies block can do the same thing. We integrated it in with the curriculum. It's standards-based, and it's engaging. It's real. Kids can really relate to the lessons that we're doing because they're meaningful in their lives.
And can I pull this up right now?
Sure.
Yeah, so this is one of the bags the kids did then?
Sure. So what it is I'll talk while you hold that up. It's a series of lessons that we email out to the teachers. It's a unit of study. It's by grade level. Once the students are done with their lessons, the teacher's done teaching, we send them out these reusable shopping bags and some fabric paints. And the kids illustrate one side of the bag with a concept that they've learned or a message they have for their world, something to get the rest of us on board with being better stewards.
We got one more to show here. So these were done with kids K through 12, or does it actually tell you the ages here? So this is 18. This is an 18-year-old.
Yep, and this is a beautiful mountainscape here. This particular project was with high school kids. We found that high school kids really need a lot of this education. They're not getting a lot of environmental ed right now.
So now, are these washable then?
They are 100% washable.
And do they put something on it so that the graphic stays on there, the art stays on there?
It's not necessarily. It is a product here by Pentel, and they've come up with these fabric dye sticks. They're kind of like crayons in a way, or pastels. And they're heat set. So when the kids are done, the teacher takes an iron and irons it over.
And irons it down.
For about a minute. And then
kind of like the old stick-on,
Yeah,
that's really cool. So how many schools have you worked with right now? So you have New York project that you started, and then you moved here. When did you move it here?
So I transitioned from New York back to California in 2008. At that time, I became a principal. I got real busy, and so we put the project on hold. Last year, about a year ago, I started getting contacted by other school principals that were interested. They found us through the web, and so we decided to start up again.
And Santa Cruz area, Par Valley, or is it what are the areas there?
Sure. So I'll back up a little bit. In New York, we did a pilot project, and we approached several companies to see if they were interested in sponsoring it. One of them was Whole Foods Markets, being very green and very community conscious. And so they gave us some seed money to do this project in New York. And we piloted the project with 1,000 kids in about 12 schools in 5 of the boroughs. And it was just very, very successful.
Okay, what are the boroughs for us West Coast people?
So we were in the Bronx.
So is it like a county, or is that like a
little
city?
Bit.
Or?
It's like a county. Yeah,
Okay.
It's a county. Yeah. Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, and Brooklyn.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to pull up the next slide here too, because I skipped it. And this one is environmental stewardship again. This is what your website. This is kind of just going back to, when I was a kid, you had your Arbor Day and you go plant stuff, and they don't really have time to do field trips like that now, right? And the art's been taken out of a lot of schools, and so this was one of the reasons that you guys started it, to help offset that, correct?
That's right. As a school, as a teacher, former teacher, and administrator in public schools and schools with kids that come from families in need, that kind of thing. Art was the days that we had art was far and few between. At my school, both in New York and out here in California, art is something that's important to me personally, and it was to the community. And so we managed to have art. but there are many, many schools, both in California, New York, and across the U.S., where there is zero art, where there is core curriculum instruction, a little physical education, maybe a little bit of music.
And some of that's going away too, the physical education.
That's right.
Let's pull up the next slide too. I thought this was such a cute thing, these kids drawing, and we'll pull up the next one again. So, you know, some kids, this is their art, right? And then here, there's some kids that have this. And there is really a difference. I mean, you've got schools, let's say Los Gatos, Saratoga, where they set up a fund where the kids can continue to do art. And I remember I think you were saying Santa Cruz proper?